I don't know what this is, but I'm kind of curious, alright? Take a look at that.
It is I, Mysterio, Master of Illusion!
Okay.
Look what I can do! Oh, shit!
Wow, congrats! That's amazing. Okay. That's great.
Hey, do you remember when Blizzard suspended a Hearthstone esports player for supporting
No, I totally
Hong Kong
forgot.
during a live stream, and also suspended 2 of the casters who were with him? Do you remember that? Do you remember that? Do you remember how Blizzard hid behind a vaguely written clause that allowed them to do it?
Yes.
In a move that looked as if they were placating China,
Yeah.
so many corporations do, because they're desperate for the amount of money that the Chinese market makes for them. Do you remember?
I've heard of that.
Do you remember when Blizzard waited a working week to respond to it and then put out some non-committal guff late on a Friday to avoid the news cycle? Do you remember? Do you remember? Huh, Craig? What's that? Oh, they announced Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2? Oh! All's forgiven then. Why were we ever annoyed? Huh.
Wait, what is this here?
Let's talk about bots. Bots
Activision patented the technique of matchmaking you with people who have paid cosmetics to encourage you to buy them. Holy shit. Now, long video from Noxious about Diablo itemization. Yeah, we're going to watch that too. I want to get into the Diablo videos after this. I just wanted to see this real quick. Yeah, we're going to watch Diablo videos after this. Test your guild's ability to listen and take direction. Yeah, I'll do that soon. We'll see what happens, 8B. Right now, I don't want to deal with it right now, though. I will do it soon, though.
Are nothing new.
They've
idea. Been a part of video games for exactly 155 years. They pad out a party in a multiplayer game that doesn't have enough players, like in Ubisoft's classic game that everybody loved, For Honor, where the existence of bots was essential at launch due to the fact that the game's online mode was very, very bad and you couldn't connect to real humans. The issue of bot-filled online modes might be fixed now, and this criticism could very well be outdated, but I'm buggered if I'm going to go back and play it to check. Bots can be sufficient allies for those who lack game-playing friends, or those who simply don't want to talk to real people, which I can understand. As discovered in Left 4 Dead, where teamwork is essential and AI-controlled partners do useful things, like refuse to pick you up after you've been downed when you really fucking need their help. In the Gears of War series...
How does he know that's an AI? That sounds exactly like a normal player. Maybe they programmed the AI to actually behave like normal people. Yeah, this sounds exactly the same.
Co-op AI partners have been incredibly useful for refusing to pick you up after you've been downed when you really fucking need their help. Basically, if you like lying around bleeding out on the floor, bots are there for you. Like they've been there before. Bots are, generally speaking, not as good as human players. You can make a bot with as much accuracy and rapid-fire thinking as possible, but artificial intelligence is still rather simplistic in the video game space. They don't think creatively, they don't improvise, they lack important survival traits like fear that might otherwise prevent them from rushing headfirst into an uneven fight. One day, we'll all be dead and only the robots and the cockroaches will be left to fight for Earth's scorched remains, but right now AI just isn't good enough to tackle the Rochoidian uprising. On top of this, bots are usually handicapped by design to not outclass human players, which makes them comparatively easier foes in a game. Plus, you know, bots are just weird, inhuman, and behaviourally distinct as a result. All that said, bots can still be mistaken for human players when they're not obviously flagged as bots, and this has come up with a few important games lately.
PUBG Mobile did this,
given a username similar to something a human would use, and there's no exterior indicator that the enemy on screen is anything but a fellow player, exactly how honest is that? Does it
seems a little bit weird.
Whether it's honest or not? And how does the presence of anonymous bots impact the game? Fortnite recently kicked off its massive Chapter 2 update, boasting all manner of new features. New ways to progress as a player, a new map, new items, all of the new newness. The moment you as a player get into Chapter 2, you're plunged into the game from a cutscene rather seamlessly, dropped into the fresh map to get a first taste. And when I did this, I immediately noticed something was off. I was winning for one thing. Now look, I'm not terrible at Fortnite, but I'm not a particularly good player either. Almost always surviving to the last quarter or so,
I can
but
relate.
struggling a bit more.
Yeah, I
from
can relate
then
to that a
on.
lot.
In this very first game of Fortnite, I won it with startling speed, and the
What-
opponents
what?
I dispatched along the way
Damn.
were clearly not up to the task of putting me down.
Jim's a
Wandering
god at
aimlessly,
Fortnite. Holy shit.
Staring at me for a few seconds before shooting, if they did, and failing to hit me whenever they pulled the trigger, every foe I'd encountered in this initial Fortnite round not only behaved as if they'd never played Fortnite before, but as if they'd only just started playing video games at all. I could have met a few human players here. I could not have. I'll never know. They had usernames like any other player, so I could only guess based on their behaviour. In playing further, I've discovered the presence of bots has fundamentally changed the way I approach the game. Before Chapter 2, I'd play slow, careful and paranoid, always fearing a sniper's bullet from miles away.
But yeah, with the bots,
or a
you just run out there, dude.
shotgun round
You just
every
run out there,
corner.
fuck them.
Now I'm wandering around the map rather carefree, fearless of enemy resistance until
Yep.
most of the competitors have been eliminated and the truly
That's how
dangerous
it's done.
foes are all that's left. Now, admittedly, what's also helped is skill-based matchmaking, which means my terrible ass is playing with other terrible asses. But that actually plays into the engagement factor we'll be talking about later, and nonetheless, just knowing that there are automated players in there that are stupid has had a profound psychological effect on the way I approach the game. Now, in one way,
It's the same way. Like, I'm the same way. Like, if I know I'm going up against somebody good, I'll actually play worse because I'll be worried about doing something wrong. But if I play against somebody who's shitty, I'll play much better because I know I'm going to win. I don't know if that makes sense.
this is a
It
good
probably doesn't.
thing. You could argue that playing more aggressively is a positive trait. And of course, the existence of easier opposition is giving the casual player a better shot at success and likely way more encouragement to keep playing it. In another way, however, this is a somewhat cheap and deceptive way to retain an audience. Fortnite developer
I
Epic
would
Games
say
has
so.
been a little bit shifty
It's like having
and not
bots
really
and shit like that
talkative
in
when
game.
it comes to the bot question,
a little bit
leaving the
much.
community to speculate, theorize, and cook up conspiracies. One common question that's since popped up is this: how many of our kills in Fortnite have been truly earned in battle, and how many have simply been handed to us on a silver platter by subpar AI?
You thought you were playing with humans? 'Twas but another nefarious illusion.
Okay,
by the mighty
dude.
Mysterio.
Okay, dude.
I've got nothing better to do.
Yep.
Whoa,
Same. That's why we're
shit.
watching the video.
In a really interesting article,
So yeah, I mean, the thing with bots and everything in game is that I don't think multiplayer should ever have bots. The only time that I think multiplayer should have a bot in it, like online multiplayer, is like, let's say you're playing a team game with like 3 people, like Apex, for example, and you have somebody quit out of your game. And if it's a game where people can rejoin into, I think that if they have a bot taking the... Actually, no, that wouldn't even work. I don't know. Probably just don't have bots in multiplayer games. Yeah, never mind. No, because then you can kill the bot and get credit for that. So yeah, just in general, I feel like bots are not very useful. Like CSGO, maybe like CSGO, I don't know. CSGO is the only excuse. Overall, like, there's no reason to have fucking bots in online multiplayer games. It doesn't make any sense except for trying to populate things. So it's like basically like view botting, but it's bot botting. That's what they're doing.
article on Fortnite bots, writer Carolyn Petit remarked on their eerie, almost horror-like presence in the game, discussing how their inhuman quirks, such as building single walls without rhyme or reason, makes them come off like alien creatures or mixed-up zombies. More crucially, she described the sense of doubt that bots have instilled in her experience. Now I score an elimination and I experience a feeling of deflation, she wrote. I don't understand what the bots are meant to accomplish. Their behaviour is too rudimentary to help me be better at the game in my encounters with human players. Is Fortnite just trying to stack the odds more in my favour to serve me a victory on a silver platter?
You know what I really think that it is with Fortnite, for example? I think the fact is that people have gotten so fucking good at Fortnite that if you're a new player, you're just going to get your shit kicked in to a degree that makes the game unfun. So Epic thought, okay, well, how can we make people come into the game that are absolutely fucking terrible, right? How can we put somebody who's who's in the bottom of the food chain in the middle. And what they do is they add in bots that are at the bottom of the food chain that these fucking dog shit ass players like myself can fight against, and I can get a 10 bomb in a game. I hit 10 kills in a game, right? And like 9 of those were bots, and the 10th guy, I killed him at the beginning because I got a shotgun. He didn't get anything, right? Fuck him. But anyway, like, that's why I think they did it. They probably did it because there are so many people that probably start playing Fortnite and they just get absolutely fucking dunked on by somebody who's like, you know, Tfue level of skill, and they have no idea what the fuck's going on. So I actually think this is why they made these changes. It makes sense to me. Yeah, it does. It makes sense.
I won't lie, even with bots, there's some kind of chemical satisfaction some part of my brain gets from scoring 4 or 5 eliminations in a single match. Something that was almost unheard of for me when all my opponents were human. But I don't want the game to give me these hollow ego boosts and empty victories.
It's so sad, man.
I'm terrible at the game.
It really is.
I'd love to get better, but I don't want you letting me win just so that I can feel better.
It's insulting.
And herein lies the rub. Many players have described feeling great about their performance in a game, only to become let down once they remember those kills were probably scored at the expense of dim-witted programs masquerading as people. And that's just those who even know about
the thing is, like, they can make really good bots. Like, they can make bots probably that can beat somebody in Fortnite. They could probably make a bot, if they spent a long time on it, they could probably program a bot that would never lose in Fortnite almost. And I know they can do that with League, right? They have like a super really good League bot as well. And I think they could absolutely make a better bot than what they have. And I think they intentionally have them to be shitty to make bad players feel good whenever they kill the bots. And then most bad players don't even realize they're bots. So, I mean, shit, most players call the bad players anyway bots. So it's like, what's the difference? I mean, Epic's just following suit with the player base, if anything.
The bots. Fortnite isn't exactly upfront about their presence, and those casual players being encouraged by the easy victories likely aren't even aware of their existence. To them, they're just doing better at the game now. Now, many people might not have a problem with that. I mean, what they don't know won't hurt them, right? But I do feel, personally, that this is something of a grey area. And in a monetized game that relies on engagement to keep players invested, involved, and subsequently spending money, I have a bit of a problem with that. We'll talk more about engagement in a moment, but first, let's look at a slightly more dishonest game, one that really rubs me the wrong way, the piece of shit mobile dross that is Mario Kart Tour.
Is it that bad?
Mario Kart Tour is worse than Fortnite when it comes to dressing bots up in human clothing. You see, Mario Kart Tour doesn't have an online mode at all, not yet. While one is planned in a future update, the current game simply pretends that every race you have is online. Every racer has a distinct username, some of them written in other languages to falsify a worldwide player base. Not once during the game does Mario Kart Tour itself tell you that, hey, you might think you keep winning races against other players, but you're not. It's a sham.
What if they actually released the online multiplayer, but it's actually just not online multiplayer? Like, they're like, all right, guys, it's finally out. And then they're like, okay, cool, I can play against everybody. And they just change the bot names. I don't know why. I just think like that. It's so funny. I hope they do that, actually. I do.
Fucking lie. Just
hilarious.
Like Fortnite, this has a distinct impact on the way someone could interact with the game.
Yeah.
I personally played it far longer than I might otherwise have done because I didn't know it was all fake. I thought I was doing pretty well at the game and winning felt pretty decent, so I kept doing it. At least until it was obvious that the game was total bullshit. Just try playing it with the fuck-awful motion controls that don't work. You'll still get into first place despite bashing into walls all the bloody time. If you don't know that it's all pretend times, you think you're winning, and if you think you're winning, you'll feel encouraged to keep playing. Let it ride, as they say. And the more you play, the more you're entrenched in that game's economy. And the more entrenched in the economy you are, the more tempted you may be to spend cash on it. Making this even more insidious is the fact that many of the bots use premium characters and unlockable cosmetics found in Mario Kart Tour's gamblerific loot boxes. Premium skins in games create a haves and have-nots economy. Players wearing them demonstrate to other players that spending money on the game is fashionable, socially acceptable, the normal way to play.
So they have, like, basically It's basically like, what is this, like the Stepford Wives or something like this? Like you program in bots with all the best cosmetics to make the normal people feel bad? Holy shit. I mean, that's really, the shamelessness of that is like, I really, there are sometimes whenever I see something like that, and I'm not even mad about it, because I'm so impressed that someone would be shameless enough to do that in the first place. It's really impressive to me. It's great.
Something game developers deliberately do. Create a system where premium skins are status indicators and the default skins are to be looked down upon and mocked. Not
Kids
only
getting
does
bullied
Mario
at
Kart
Fortnite,
Tour falsify a sense of
Fortnite
success
skins.
and player investment, it also lies about the popularity of its own microtransactions in doing so. Any game using secret bots that wear or use premium items is actively bullshitting about the desirability of its own merchandise, and that fucking sucks.
I never
it's the
even
modern
thought of it like
equivalent
that.
to that stereotypical
Yeah.
old-timey scam of the snake oil merchant
And
having
then
a plant in the gathered
Yep.
crowd, pretending to be an average customer and testifying to the product's success. And ultimately,
So I don't know if you guys know like what that is, right? I'm not sure if people like know that analogy. People like back in like the fucking old Western days, there'd be some guy that comes into town and, you know, he's got some magic beans that you're supposed to eat, and it'll cure you of, it'll make you be able to walk if you're crippled. So, you know, there's like some random guy, and he's like, you know, giving out his pitch, and then some guy is like, does anybody want to try it who's crippled? And some guy comes forward who's in a wheelchair, and the guy who comes forward is actually in leagues with the guy that's selling the fucking beans. He eats the beans, he stands up, and then more people buy the beans. It's pretty simple. So yeah, this is basically the exact same fucking thing.
all this comes down to that word I mentioned earlier: engagement. Mainstream video games aren't about entertainment anymore. If they were, more AAA video games would have actual content in them at launch. No, they're about engagement. And there is a
content's for the
distinct
DLC.
difference. Engagement has become one of the most important factors in modern media. It's become prioritized over actual enjoyment because it renders any interaction with a piece of media down to numbers on a page regardless of context. Whether someone is having fun or just repeatedly doing chores in a game doesn't matter. Only the interaction.
Yeah,
on
zillion
YouTube,
OP.
engagement
Exactly.
is measured not just by views, but by comments and the like and dislike bar. Whether those comments are positive or negative doesn't matter. It only matters that there are comments. To the point where many commenters are trying to support their favourite channels by just leaving comments saying, I have nothing to say, this is just for the engagement.
That's why I've said before, like, if you don't like a video, don't watch the video. Don't dislike it, don't like it, don't comment on fuck you, because all of those things increase the engagement, and it makes the algorithm for YouTube think, oh wow, people keep interacting with this video, better show it to everyone. And that's what happens. So if you don't like a video for whatever fucking reason, you need to make sure that you just ignore the video. That is the smartest and best thing to do. Ignore the fucking video. That's obvious? No, it's not obvious. Why would it be obvious that disliking a video would make it show up more often? Like, how is that obvious to anyone? This is not obvious at all. It's completely counterintuitive. But that's the way the Google algorithm works.
Whether the video has more likes than dislikes doesn't matter. The algorithm treats them as identical. Groups that come together to mass dislike a video they hate actually only help those videos.
Yep.
The almighty algorithm doesn't care whether you like or dislike
That's how
something.
my videos get so many
The
views.
algorithm only cares
That's how
that
I
you're
get so many
here.
views.
This is why they...
Because like there are probably less people that like me than like maybe some other people on YouTube, right? But if you combine the amount of people that like me and the amount of people that hate me, that's a lot. That's a lot of people. And so even if they watch my videos, like you can go and look at this anywhere. Like I'll go ahead and I'll pull this up. Asmongold reacts. Let's see here. Asmongold reacts to worst BlizzCon. Where's something good here? Let's see. Troll by Weebs video. Okay, all right, here we go. Let's see here. This is Asmongold returns. And I'll go all the way down here. We'll read the comments here. and people will be no doubtedly talking shit. No doubtedly talking shit in the comments. And like all of these people are actually promoting these videos because they keep commenting, man, I don't know how do I get this off of my timeline, man? I fucking hate Asmongold. I hate him. Why is there anybody else that's getting these videos always in your timeline? I hate this guy. And then other people, new Bellier video, I get it, man. Found no hate comments. Well, I mean, the thing is with this is it's like a gameplay thing, right? It depends on the type of video. Asmongold, that's not really a hate video. How does this guy have a life? Jeez. Imagine being upset about something being made easy, not to grind out a raid clear. Let's see here. There's plenty more of them. Freaking Spurgs understanding this is a small celebration of some raid bosses. I think it's nicely done. Yeah, so there are hate comments. You've just got to scroll all the way down here. You know what I mean? This is ridiculous. Listen, guys. There's plenty of hate comments. I've read many of them. Neil vs. Babyface, the new China law that helps kids. Who gives a shit?
Those fucking auto-playing videos have become so popular on websites now. Because whether you pay attention or not to those videos is immaterial. You're just there as a number.
That's right.
Watch it, don't watch it.
You're
so
just
long as
a number.
It played on your browser, that's what made it a success. And how fucking soulless is that? This isn't exactly a new phenomenon either, since television ratings have boiled down audience responses to cold hard numbers for decades. Yeah. Indeed, it was parodied years ago on the BBC sketch show That Mitchell and Webb Look.
Yep.
You know, that show that everyone remembers because of the baddies.
Are we the baddies?
Skit.
So it's coverage of idiots behaving idiotically for an audience of idiots.
Not just an audience of idiots. There'll be a lot of other people who flatter themselves they're watching with a sense of irony and in some way haven't been taken in.
And remind me, how do these ironic non-idiots show up in the ratings?
They show up the same, my friend. They show up just the same.
So it goes for Fortnite, Mario Kart Tour, any other game,
They're
making it
just
easier for players to keep engaging with their products.
Oh,
it doesn't matter if you're good at these games, if you're even playing them with any sense of skill or enjoyment, if you're playing it out of habit or addiction or genuine fun. You show up exactly the same, and so long as you're engaged, so long as you keep going back to the routine, that's all games need. This is why so many games have daily login bonuses. Why there are
daily login bonuses. Oh, is there a game that we can think of that has daily login bonuses? I don't know. It might be a couple that's doesn't Fortnite have that, or ESO. Actually, like, yeah, every game has that now. It's not even like I can't make a joke about WoW. Because, like, every game has daily login bonuses. Like, WoW, like, Classic is, like, one of the only games that doesn't. It's insane. Oh, SRS doesn't? Yeah, because it was built before these games became popular.
Perpetual repetitive events, why they feature so much grinding, why there's so much farming and crafting and resource collecting and monotonous bullshit. It's why even when you pay for things like XP and currency boosters to skip the grind, you're still encouraged to keep playing because those boosters often have expiry dates and you need to maximize your investment by playing as much as you can until the time limit on those boosters is up.
And then you buy another one.
How nefarious is that? None of it's designed primarily to entertain you, it's designed to encourage compulsive habitual play. You may get shallow endorphin rushes from positive feedback in these games, but the content is so repetitive and threadbare you're playing it out of sheer routine. The industry has a term for this cynical game design: hook, habit, hobby. This isn't me just guessing at the industry's motives. They have names for this shit. In our quote from Carolyn Petit, she said she didn't know what the bots in Fortnite are meant to accomplish. It's easier to understand their goal when you remember one simple thing. They're not in the game for our benefit, they are in the game for Epic's benefit. Whenever something is implemented in a game that doesn't make much sense, especially when it fundamentally changes the game, the way that bots have in Fortnite,
I think that's actually a really good way to say it. Have store mounts or any of these things made the game better in WoW? No, not really. Like, maybe the presence of those mounts would make the game better, but the distribution method, no. Same with a lot of the other, bonus items and stuff like that they have. It's not about making the game better, it's about making the company more money. And whenever game design decisions are made based off of how can this make the company the most amount of money, you know, it's a bad path to go down.
It's always worth asking what the corporation behind said game is getting out of it. The answer for Epic is simple. It's getting engagement. It's encouraging casual players to keep playing, and even experienced players are getting a basic, if very hollow, rush from increasingly impressive kill streaks. And whether you know your victory is hollow or not, you're a number that shows up to Epic exactly the same. You're engaged, and that's all that matters. If content is king, engagement is the emperor. And more, the emperor is seizing the king's land. Because engagement, as we've said, is all that matters. I mean, you go on Netflix and see how many times it skips the credits at the end, even if there's really good music that really fits the episode. And you've got to scrabble to stop it. And they've reduced the time it takes that you've got to scrabble and stop it.
I didn't know how that works.
And they're even talking about playing content now at 1.5 speed. Because they want you to just get through this stuff. Just consume and consume and consume. Don't think about what you're consuming. Don't enjoy what you're consuming.
Does that actually happen? I don't even know that.
Just indulge. Just take it all in. Because there's always more content to get to.
What the fuck?
It's so disposable now. I mean, look how...
Wait, so the Zoomers are zooming at 1.5 speed now to watch shows? What the fuck? Dude, this is crazy. What the hell is going on, man? What are the kids into nowadays? It's scary. Their engagement, yeah, they're literally Zoomers now.
How important Game of Thrones was for 10 years. And then the final season happened earlier this year, and now everyone's just stopped. Just stopped. Because we don't have a chance to truly absorb the content, just engage with it, just rant about it on social media for like a day, and then move on to the next content for like a day.
You've got to complain about that now.
Much. There's always more, and it never stops. Actual content, real entertainment has become more and more disposable, and I realise I've gone from talking about bots to something completely different. In fact, there's probably a whole other video we can do on the topic of just how disposable entertainment has become, and has been slowly becoming over years.
It's because there's no fucking checks for entertainment now. Anybody can come out and do entertainment. Like Twitch, like there's no wall like preventing me from like streaming. But for example, right? I mean, as long as I have my channel that I can do things on, I can stream and do whatever the fuck I want. So there's not like a filter for people that are like really bad at entertaining or stupid or annoying or something like that. Those people, they're just gonna do what they're gonna do. And nowadays, there's nothing that really kind of distinguishes like good content from bad content. And so that's obviously why we have this shit happen.
It really is quite sad, but then who am I to talk? Within 24 hours you will all have forgotten that this video even exists, and so will I. So will everyone.
Sad. Very sad.
Thank God for me.
My name is Ninjas, the bad ninjas. How I use my sword, how it singes.
I'm Zitsuland.
Dude. What the fuck is that? I don't even know what to say, man. Like, I just in general, like, yeah, he did the thing, exactly. He'll make another one. Well, no, it's just like in general, like microtransactions and like the, like having bots in the store, or sorry, bots in games that are using the premium skins in order to create like an artificial idea of there being demand for the skins and show people that, oh wow, this is the culture of playing the game and you're wearing these skins, etc. Like, obviously that kind of stuff